I've got a green thumb. My thumb's so green, in fact, that if there's a plant that it looks like it's dead or if it's dying, I usually have pretty good luck bringing it back to health, bringing it back to life, so to speak. One such plant was an aloe vera plant. This aloe vera plant had followed us from Florida to our first house in Maryland, to our next house in Maryland. The aloe vera plant had been all over the place with us. And this particular home that we live in now, we have a deck. And this aloe vera plant was sitting outside one night in March. Now, March is usually supposed to be mild, not too hot, not too cold. But one night in March, the temperature dropped down below freezing, and I had forgotten to bring the plants in, had forgotten to lay the sheet over them if they were going to stay outside. And the freeze that came that night actually looked like it had killed the aloe vera plant. Well, I was upset about it. My wife, she was upset because evidently she had told me that I needed to bring the plant inside. I didn't listen, right? And so the plant looked like it was about ready to die, and she even said to me, "Why don't you just take it and throw it out? It's probably dead." And I told her, I said, let's just wait a little bit. Let's just wait a little while. Let's see what happens. So I gave it some water and nursed it back to health. And today, that plant that looked like it was dead is thriving. As a matter of fact, there's not just one stalk coming up out of the dirt. There's a whole nother stalk and a few other bunches that have surrounded that primary stalk. What if we would have thrown that plant away when it looked like it was dead? Well, we would have wasted a perfectly good aloe vera plant. There's a story in Luke chapter 7. There's a woman that is leading a processional outside of the city. The city is called Nain. It's up on a hill. So as they're walking out of the city, there are four men behind her that are carrying her son that has died, and they are carrying him to the graveyard that is located just outside the city. As they get halfway down the trail, they encounter another crowd that actually Jesus is walking with. It looks like a political rally. It's this group of individuals that are in despair because this woman had lost her son meets this crowd of hope and encouragement. And so Jesus, the Bible says, meets her with compassion. He meets her right where she is, and he almost whispers to her, and he says, Don't worry, your son's not dead. Don't cry anymore. And then he walks over to this wicker basket that these four men are carrying. It's got her son laid there with a sheet over him, and he touches the basket and he speaks to the young man. This young man that was dead for all intents and purposes, he spoke to him. He says, with a loud voice, he spoke and says, "Young man, arise." The man sits up in the basket, and Jesus takes him and reunites him with his mother. Here's the point. For all intents and purposes, that young man looked like he was dead. But Jesus saw life in him. I don't know what part of your life is rough right now, or maybe there's a relationship with a parent or a loved one that you thought was dead and you thought that it was over. I want to encourage you today. Allow Jesus to breathe life into those things, those relationships, those connections. Allow Him to breathe life back in to those relationships. And not just that. Allow Him to breathe life into you. Because that which looks to be dead isn't always dead.